Hello and welcome to another episode of Beer Man's No Bull Beer Reviews. Today I have another beer from High Branch Brewing Company out of Concord, North Carolina. See here, this beer is called Die Hard Fans Demand More. See, it says Hazy Triple IPA, and it is 9.7 ABV. And I did look it up. This one's brewed with Galaxy, Cashmere, Azaka, and Citra. So it sounds like a good hop combination. I have not had this yet. I've heard from several people that this is one of the best triple IPAs they've done in a little while, so I'm pretty excited for that. So let's crack it open and see what we got. So the last triple IPA I opened from them, man, this is thick. The last triple IPA I opened from them, the Highly Unstable, was kind of disappointing. It was like kind of murky looking. It seemed like it was somewhat oxidized, which caused some additional fermentation and diacetyl, and that wasn't too great. But that was just a rare miss, and I'm hoping for something better here, which definitely looks like that's the case. This looks like what I would expect one of their IPAs to look like. It's super, super hazy, really nice, fluffy, about a finger's worth of white head. Pretty much like not really bright orange. It's kind of like a murky pineapple juice. And that's kind of what it smells like too. See, a lot of I would say like some certain breweries, I think, and no matter what hops they use, it seems to be something from the house yeast. Usually kind of lean towards one end or the other as far as hop profile. And obviously the type of hops plays a role too, but it seems like the yeast also does. And for me, like Resident Culture hops, they always have a little bit of that like garlicky, oniony character, like that green character, but it's also more like usually like orange rindy. Whereas High Branch stuff, their stuff always is just like deep, like funky pineapple juice, which is for sure the case here. There is some like grassy notes as well. And I actually do get a little bit of that like garlicky character out of this too. But it's definitely more pineapple than anything. Man, that is a thick IPA if there ever was one. It's very, very sweet. And I know, I forgot, I did also read that there's, this is brewed with oats, which I don't think is usually worth mentioning because so many hazy IPAs are brewed with oats now. It just makes sense to do it to bolster up that mouthfeel. But it also, this does have a small amount of lactose in it as well, which I kind of, I generally don't like that for most IPAs, but these guys seem to do it really well, where you don't really get like that weird slickness in the body, and it doesn't really make it taste any different. It just kind of brings out the juiciness a little bit, and it makes it more drinkable. This really is like hop candy if there ever was one. I said in the aroma I wasn't really getting like much like orangey citrus, but now I'm definitely getting more of that. Not really like bitter orange rind, but more like actual orange juice. But even like orange, maybe not even orange juice, maybe like clementines or tangelos, something that's a little more juicy in flavor and not as rindy. And there is a lot of pineapple, but it's not, like I was saying before, sometimes I get like funky pineapple from them. It's not like that over-ripened like funky pineapple. It's like fresh pineapple juice. And there is still some of that slight garlicky aroma, but I'm really not getting in the flavor at all. You know, this is one of those triple IPAs that like the flavor is so chock full of hops, but it's not that bitter because it's pretty sweet. But you could tell if they scaled that sweetness back just a little bit by the amount of hops that are in this, and just how in your face they are. That this would be super super bitter. So to really get where I think they're trying to get with the hops, I think this sweetness is appropriate, and um, it's not overbearingly sweet where I don't want to drink it. And I don't really mind sweetness in IPAs as long as the hop flavor is like super in your face, juicy. But I don't like if it's sweet, but then they don't execute on the flavor. Then it to me it's just gross. But this is really well executed. Yeah. Um, you know, any 9% plus IPAs, I'm not really as concerned with something being like super balanced because it's almost impossible to do that with IPAs that are that big. Usually, you have to have there's got to be some sweetness to counteract the amount of bitterness you're going to get from how loaded with the hops you're going to be, which also counteracts the sweetness at the same time and counteracts the booze. So it really is a balancing act as far as all those things, and none of them being like too abrasive or offensive to the palate. But it's not balanced in a sense that there's no big things about it. It's all big. It's just balanced in that each one is big, if that makes any sense. Because usually when I say balanced, yeah, each one is in balance and none of them's like super strong. But they're all kind of like none of them is super in your face. But here it's kind of like they're all big in your face. It's kind of like a big barley wine where everything plays a big role, but it's all balanced because each one is equal, and that's kind of the scenario here. And so that's really what I look for when I'm talking about triple IPAs because it's almost impossible to get like that true balance you're going to get from like a 6% IPA slash pale ale. But you know that's a give and take for making something that big, so I understand it. So I think this was $21 a 4 pack, which I absolutely understand that just by from tasting this. I can only imagine honestly the hop schedule that they use for this. Um, and I also understand that there's kind of a saturation point with hops. But this also isn't even super fresh. I know that they hold up. That's why I don't worry about them drinking theirs right away. It's under 2 months, but it's not like this came out last week either. So the fact that it tastes like this and it's like 6 weeks old, I can only imagine this might have actually been too rough fresh. So I'm glad I did hold off a little bit, and I can just only imagine the hop schedule for it to taste like what it does right now. So that price I think is more than fair for this. So I'm just basing that off of what it probably cost them to make it. I'm not, you know, some people will think the price is worth it because it's higher in alcohol. I honestly don't care about that. I understand it takes more grain to make that, but that doesn't really do much for me. I just care about the flavor really. Um, so on my scale of buy, drink, dump, this is definitely a buy. You know, I don't generally, I for the most part prefer either single IPAs or triple IPAs, not double IPAs. I've said this before. I know that because single ones are usually more like balanced, like I was describing before. Triples, if they're good ones, are like they're balanced as well, but they're all like in your face. And I appreciate both equally. To me, a lot of times double IPAs are kind of like the Goldilocks effect, but in a negative way, where it's like I want either something that's really big and in your face and aggressive, or I want something that's really nice and balanced and tight. I don't want something that's kind of a little bit of one and a little bit of the other. It's kind of a jack of all trades and master at nothing type thing. So this is a really really good representation of this style. I don't think I like it quite as much as the Wedding Ring, but that honestly might have been the best triple IPA I've ever had. So that is saying a lot. But this is another really really great hoppy beer from these guys. I I will say it. They, in my opinion, when they're on point, they make the best hoppy beer in the Charlotte area. I could understand an argument being made for Resident Culture, but for my preferences, I do like these guys slightly better. So if you're into this style, definitely seek them out. They're doing some really, really great stuff. I think that's all I got on this one. Please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think, and I look forward to doing the next one. Thanks.